and welcome to episode 25 of the car review series. Today I am doing another request from the same person as the last video. Today I'm reviewing the Toyota Prius touring car. I'm not looking forward to this whatsoever. Let's see what the stats are like. So we have 443 performance points, 215 brake horsepower in a Prius. That's quite a scary prospect, I have to admit. 1,035 kilograms and or 1 ton. Front engine front wheel drive to add to this, how scary it will be. It's 27 kilograms force meter max torque and only 4.81 kilograms per brake horsepower power to weight ratio. So it's I'm not looking forward to this whatsoever. I'm kind of dreading it. It's not so bad, to be honest, because it's the touring car, so it does have a petrol engine inside it, but I'm still kind of I'm not excited about it. I am using I'm not using I'm doing it on the Côte d'Azur track. Where's the brakes? There's the brakes. Mainly because none of the London tracks had any what's the word? none of the London tracks had people on them, if that makes sense. They all had all the London tracks had 4 or 5 people on them, whereas this has 16 people on it, so it's a bit more fun. So yeah, here's the back of the car. It's rather nice. There's the brake lights and the reverse lights, as you just saw. I think that's all there is to the back of the car. You've got the front of the car, so you have the horn. There is no horn. What else? The lights, very bright lights, and the wipers, very standard wipers. Yeah, I'm not exactly hopeful for this. The bumper view, nothing to see here other than the speedo, which again goes up to 160 miles per hour. We have the interior view, which is all right. It's not too bad. It's kind of average. No, it's not average at all, to be honest. It's got a lot of detail onto it for a Prius. I think they must have changed the whole dashboard, because this does not look like a Prius in any way. I'm sure the Prius has something in the middle, and this doesn't have that. So I'm not sort of. And there isn't a pillar in my face, which is quite nice. Quite nice to see that. And the rear view, which you can see a bit out of it, which is not very often you can say that in a Gran Turismo car. And you've got the bonnet view, which is looking very far downwards. It's not looking straight. It's looking downwards a bit. So I wouldn't be using this anyway, even if I did, even if there wasn't an interior. But as it's a premium car, or as it has an interior, I'm going to be using the interior. So here's the sound. It's not a very nice sound. It's not a nice sound at all. And yeah, let's look at the burnout first, see if there's a burnout at all. Look, at the fact that it's looking downwards means you've got a very good view for the burnout, which is quite nice. There is no burnout. I didn't think there would be a burnout. So let's go. Let's see what this is like. There are no gears, annoyingly. And let's see what this is. It's very boring already. We're achieving about 90 miles per hour up this hill, which is not good. It handles fairly nicely. It handles very nicely, actually. For a front-wheel drive car, it handles really nice. I'm surprised this handles good. It's a Prius and it handles good. That's just unheard of. How can you have a Prius? Oh, I just hit a Mazda RX-7, I think. Sorry about that. This is really good handling. I'm kind of scared to drive it properly, because I don't want to. Otherwise, I think it will. My brain thinks it's going to understeer, but it doesn't understeer for some reason. It's very grippy, which I'm surprised about. It's not very fast down these straights, though, that's for sure. Oh god, brake! Brakes are good. Avoid the 507 BMW parked almost in the middle of the track. I'm currently second on the leaderboards in a Toyota Prius. That's not a nice thing to see in second place of a leaderboard. Yeah, curbs, it's actually quite nice on the curbs. It just doesn't... Oh! That was a bit close to that wall. It's a tad sensitive. It's just a tad... And you have to turn the steering wheel so much. It's like... The character in game is turning it 90 degrees. Sorry, I just hit that wall. The character in the game is turning 90 degrees on that steering wheel. And I have to turn it 180 degrees, about 150 degrees maybe. So he's turning, yeah, about 180 degrees, and the character inside is turning 90 degrees. So obviously there's a bit of sensitivity issues going on here, but it's nothing too major. Yeah, it's a relatively good car. There's a bit of understeer going on there, which I thought would happen. Is there any? There is smoke coming out of it, so that's a good. Well, it's not a good sign, but it's a different sign. It's missed the Corvette. Wow, that was really close to that Corvette. It's not something you want to be seeing when you're in a Prius. A drifting Corvette right in front of you, which is actually not doing too bad. Look at that! It just drives. How does this house accelerate a Corvette C7? I have no clue. I don't get that. Oh yeah, the dial was quite bright. The dial's a bit too bright for my liking, actually. I prefer to have them a bit dimmer. Those brakes are really good as well. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's a relatively good car. That's all I have to say about it. I think, yeah, the speedo on the actual dashboard is in kilometers an hour, which makes sense because it's a Japanese car. I think they use, I don't know what, Japanese use kilometers an hour, I'm pretty sure. My only reference is the Fast and Furious movies, so I can't see the corner, there's a pillar in, okay. The A pillar is quite fat, I have to admit. It's a bit difficult to see the corner sometimes. Miss the group of cars in the corner. What's that Mustang doing? There's a Nismo thing here, which is just... Why isn't he... Is he just teasing me or something because I'm in a Prius? I think he's teasing me. Oh dear. Oh, that was close. That was really close. I think I'll turn around here because it seems that everyone else is going this way and I forgot that it's left side, so I'm going to turn around here. Wait for the people. Wait for that GTR to go, and then it has a good turning circle. Whoever knew Prii have good turning circles? Maybe I shouldn't turn around. I'm now trapped. I was pressing reverse and it went forward. That makes sense. This is just... It's surprisingly good. Let's look at the speed going downhill then. Is it any good? Nope. When I drive this car, I feel like the it's kind of limiting the power output. Oh, thank you, whoever behind me hit me. Who was that anyway? I don't know what. I think that was the C7 that just hit me on purpose. So thanks for that. It's very nice of you. I'm going to go back this way. Sorry, but it's just too much. There's going to be too many crashes going the other way. I've got the fastest lap. I have the overall best fastest lap in a Prius. How does that work? I give up with this game sometimes. How can a Prius be the quickest car on this track? Chevrolet Corvette C7, BMW 2002 Turbo, Alfa Romeo TZ2, Lamborghini Aventador, GTR Nismo, Ford Shelby GT500. I'm beating all of those cars in a Prius. It must be so embarrassing. Why did you brake so much? This is a shit Aventador driver. I think he was trying to get me to overtake him so then he could catch me up on the straights, because he will, because he's in Aventador, or not. Nope, he's catching me up. Don't hit me, please. Thank you. Thank you for not hitting me. Someone actually has some respect, which is not usual. You don't get respect very often in a Prius. Oh, there's a wall there. Ooh. Oh, hang on. Yep, wipers inside are all right. They're not too bad. Spinning out Mustang. Ooh, that was close. So yeah, for beginners, I'd say, I don't know. I wouldn't go for it for beginners in terms of racing, because when you're a beginner in the game, you need to learn how to use the gearbox and have it in manual mode. And when you're in this car, you can't change gears because obviously it's an electric engine. There is only the drive. As you can see underneath, there's only drive and reverse. That's all. That's neutral if you've got an 8-shifter, which I don't. So that's all there is. And when you're in a when you're playing a game like this, you really need to learn. And you're a beginner, you really need to learn how to use a gearbox properly. Stop blocking me! Just because I'm in a Prius doesn't mean you have a right to hit me. I just outdrove an Aventador. Yeah, for beginners racing, I wouldn't do it simply because the gearbox. You need to learn how to use a gearbox in manual mode, and this you can't do that in this car. I'll just say no to this because I'm in the middle of a review. For cruising, I might beginner cruising. No, once again, when you're cruising in beginner mode, well, not beginner mode, there is no mode for beginner, but when you're cruising as a beginner, you need to learn how to control the gearing. Don't go right next to me, please. It's not funny. There's a wall there. The Aventador is it more than me. Yeah, beginner cruising, you need to learn how to use the gearbox and shift at 4,000 RPM. It's 3,500. You need to learn how to do stuff like that. And in a car like this, you can't learn how to do it. Drifting, no. just no. It's not rear-wheel drive. It's not four-wheel drive. You can't convert it to rear-wheel drive. You can't convert it to four-wheel drive. You can't change any of the settings to make it seem like it's rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. So you can't really make this car drift. Unless you have some really weird contraption of using the handbrake and the clutch and everything. It's almost... Let's try using the handbrake here. Yeah, that's what happens. So you can't really drift it. You can probably fool the game into thinking you're drifting it on the drift seasonal events. But I don't think... For proper online drifting, I wouldn't... Well, I don't think anyone would even think about going with a Prius, but you know, it's good to have some advice when you need it. For amateurs racing, I think so. It's actually a good car. Oop, sorry about that, McLaren. I didn't mean to hit you there. Is there damage on this lobby? I don't know. Let's just see if there's damage on this lobby. No, there isn't. I thought I saw damage on the on that car that passed me. Is he gonna cut? No, he isn't. Good. Yeah, for amateurs racing, I think I would do it. It's relatively fast. It's not... Okay, on the straights it's not very good. Okay, yeah. But around the corners, you have quite an advantage. I'm currently I'm beating a 2002 in an acceleration race, and I'm just cruising along. I'm not even trying to drive fast. Something with this car to note. It doesn't feel like you're racing. It doesn't feel like you're driving it fast. It feels like you're just cruising along, being quite happy. Like I'm sort of using the putting my hands on the bottom of the steering wheel and sort of being lazy, because it feels like it feels like I'm being lazy when I'm driving this car. It doesn't feel like I have an incentive to drive it fast, even though it's a touring car. I think that's what this car needs, that incentive to drive fast, because then I'll have a feeling that I need to drive faster and faster and faster. Which, a petrol engine does that, because of the way it revs, and and the way it wants you to, it makes you feel like you want to propel the car faster, and you want to push the car more and more and more and more and more until you go too far. And then when you get too far, you can adjust your driving to know that that's the limit of your car. Whereas this, you just don't feel like you're ever going to go past that limit. It's quite a... It feels... like I said earlier, it feels like it's limiting me. And it feels like it's limiting me because I don't have that incentive to drive fast. And so it always feels like I'm just driving slow and, you know, boring. It doesn't feel like I'm driving it properly. Or driving it at all, for that matter. What are these people doing? Okay. I think they just span out on their own accords. There's a C5, C6? It's a Corvette. I don't know. I don't know why. I always think of the first Corvette is a C1. The second Corvette is a Corvette. The third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth Corvette is just a Corvette. The seventh Corvette is a C7. I don't think of the seventh Corvette as a Corvette. I think of it as a C7, which is very confusing. But that's just how my mind works. I'm currently beating this Corvette as well, which shows you something. If a Prius can beat a Corvette around Monaco, then obviously it's doing something right. Yeah, like I was saying, there's no incentive to drive fast. And, he's just crashed, well done. Yeah, amateur drifting, no. Amateur cruising, I would go for it, to be honest. For amateur cruising, I think I would, because it's just got the right amount of relaxation. And you always feel like you're relaxing in this car. You don't feel like you're... I don't get stressed out with this car. That's a good thing. I don't get stressed out when I drive this car. I feel like it's effectively feel like I'm driving a driverless car. That's what it feels like. The steering wheel doesn't know what to do on the curbs with this car, by the way. The steering wheel is just shaking about all over the place every time I hit a curb, so it's something to worry about there. I've got the fastest lap again. How is that possible? And professional racing, yes. Not definitely. I think there are better cars out there, but I think I would go for it just because of... It requires some skill. It requires a lot of skill, actually. Because you need to basically fake your incentive to drive fast. Which is very difficult to do. So I think you need to be skilled to drive fast with this car. And you need to know how to fake your incentive to drive fast, which is very difficult to do. I can't even do that right now, obviously, because I feel like I'm just driving normally and quite boring. Where's the corner apex? I can't see it until the last second. Am I going to get another fastest lap? Oh my god! This car is so much... It's not so much fun. I don't know why I was going to say that. It's not fun, but it's fast. Look, that's a 144 in a Prius. I don't know how this car does it. I don't know how this car manages to achieve its rates of speed going around a circuit, but still feel like you're relaxing. How does it do it? I don't know. I would actually approve this car. I'm going to be sounding a bit... I don't think I'm going to get some very positive responses in the comments, but I would approve driving this car. Because yes, the Subarus and things like that, the Subarus, Mitsubishis, I don't know, GTRs, Nissans, GTRs especially, actually, they always feel like I always feel like I'm stressing out when I'm driving those cars. I always feel like I'm constantly trying to drive faster and faster. There's a Hyundai Click in the way. Not a nice thing to see. What was I saying? The Hyundai Click distracted me. Damn you, Hyundai Click. Yeah, I'd approve driving this because the Subarus, Mitsubishi, GTR, stuff like that, they make you feel stressed out, or make me feel stressed out. And when I feel stressed out, I have to start cruising and driving slowly, and that's why I do the cruises, so I can relax after, you know, 3 hours of driving around with a Subaru. I pretty much have to do a cruise after that, just to relax me down a bit. Otherwise, I kind of get out of the game, and then I'll be sort of really hyped up to do something else, and then there'll be nothing to do. So yes, I'd approve this car simply because it is a fast car. It's not a bad car at all. And top that off. To top that off. It also relaxes you. It doesn't feel like you have to drive it fast. I mean, I could try to drive it fast, but I just don't feel like I ever have to drive it fast because it's doing it for me. Yeah, it's pretty much not what I expected. I didn't expect that I'd ever say a Prius is good. I still wouldn't drive it. I still wouldn't drive this over the Lancer or the Subarus or anything like that. It's not. I mean, you saw what happened with the Aventadors and the Corvettes. They kept hitting me and tricking me and sort of, you know, teasing me, if you will. You don't get that in stuff like Subarus because they know you can just out-accelerate them in a Subaru. But when this thing picks, when you get the rhythm of this car, it kind of flows with you, and you feel like you're flowing with the car. So you can take corners very reliably. Where's the apex? Where's the apex? I can't see. There's the apex. I love how I can't see the apex at all. So that's basically the only complaint I have with this. It's the only one complaint I have is the A pillar on the side, but you can't see a lot of apexes until the last minute. What is this behind me? This is a Corvette Stingray thing. Yes, it is. And I don't know what it's doing. I don't know if it's teasing me or something, but I didn't want to go through there in case he unpaused, but the car basically forced me to go through there, so... See, now I'm racing a Corvette, and the Corvette just crashed. That Corvette is struggling to keep up with this. Really struggling to keep... I'm racing someone around a circuit. And it's a pretty close race. It's a pretty close race. But I'm not stressed out at all. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just driving normally. In the same rhythm as I was 3-4 laps ago. You don't get that in other cars. Whereas that Corvette is probably stressing out so much to try and catch me up. I have to watch out for him braking because he has much worse... Oh, sorry. I was too busy laughing at the Corvette. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, this has been episode 25 of the Car Review series with an unexpected surprise. The Toyota Prius touring car is actually a good car, and I would approve it for anyone other than drifting. Anything is good on this other than drifting is terrible on this. Absolutely terrible. So yeah, I've been XeinsGaming reviewing the Toyota Prius touring car, and I will see you in the next video.